5:30, so I'm going to call to order the June 24th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Directors of the Kitsap Public Facilities District. And the first item we'll have is public comment.
Yeah, hi, I'm Bob Russell. I guess I'm a nominee from Bainbridge, and I guess I'm going to be hopefully appointed at council or at the council commissioners meeting tonight. So I just wanted to introduce myself, and I'll be meeting with people and try to absorb as much as I can in the shortest amount of time. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Anderson, would you like to make public comment, sir?
Yeah, good evening. I have no comments and no questions, so y'all carry on, please.
Thank you, sir. I have nobody else online asking for public comment.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 3, which is approval of the consent agenda. And if everyone's had a chance to look it over, we can have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
And do we have a second?
I'll second that.
I'll second. Yep.
Go ahead.
Race for it. I'll second that.
And do we have any discussion? No? All in favor of approval of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the consent agenda is approved.
Mr. Chairman, before we move on to the presentation, I would like to bring your attention to the screen, and I know those that are out here are probably difficult to see. I just wanted to point out what our May, which would actually be a reflection of our March sales tax rebate was at $197,130, and we were just less than 1% down from where we were at this time last year. But also note that last year our March and Aprils were in a decline, and we started to see an incline starting in May. So we've only had 2 months of the 4 so far, or 2 months of the 5 so far that have showed negative. You can see down at the bottom that right now our overall average is 1.4, which matches where we were at this time in 2023, but far off from where we were at in 2022.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that from anybody? No? Okay, I don't have the agenda up on here, so I don't know what the next item is. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
If you want to just
I'm so sorry.
go right to it.
Yeah, we've had our public comment and approval of consent agenda, so we're now ready for Mayor Putaansuu to make his presentation and give us an update on the City of Port Orchard project.
Okay, Mayor.
Do you have my PowerPoint? Wonderful. Story and the pictures are mostly the same, but happy to give you guys an update. I think you guys have seen this rendering here, which is the entrance to the community center, and ground floor, as you know, is the library, the vent space on the second floor, and then spilling out onto the deck. You can go to that next slide, Russ, and there is a rendering of the facility from the backside, and the next image is an additional image of the backside. Got some images of the end. So this is walking in the front entry. There's a customer service counter for the city in the event space there, where you see that the two folks standing, and then to the right as you turn is going to be the library facility, and those stairs you see on the left and the elevators there on the left also go up to the event space. And this is the adult library, or in the library, the adult book area, intended to be a quiet space out from the hustle and bustle of everything else that's going on in the event center. And then this is, we're envisioning a co-working space, small co-working space up on the second floor, back from the event space. And if you go to the next slide, is just the rendering of all of the elements from our complete street, and I'll show you some early engineering drawings of that. It's not a very pretty picture. The community center, the Kitsap Bank building. We still don't have a developer for the parking garage and the housing units across the street, but as we actually break ground and build these other elements, I'm confident that's going to come. That Marina lift station, later on, I'll show that's under construction right now. $15 million project. Can't build all these new buildings if you don't have infrastructure in the ground, sewer, water, and such. So the street right now is $1 million being dedicated to the design of the street. We've got the funding secured for that design. We've got about half of our money for the street, and we've got a plan for the other half of the money for the street build. We got a federal grant for half of it. Next spring, this next spring, we should be doing the utilities, which is going to be all new sewer and water, undergrounding the power through a Schedule 74 agreement with Puget Sound Energy. And currently we don't have street trees or wide sidewalks or anything. This is going to be a complete rebuild of the street. And as I've spoke to before, this is area of our downtown floods every November, and with sea level rise, it's only going to get worse. And that's how we were able to get the two grants that we've gotten to rebuild the street. So we're raising the street 1.5 feet, and that bank is ready to go on their project. But their building doesn't work if the road if they build it 1.5 feet higher and the road isn't there yet to meet them. So we've got a 9-month project. They've had an 18-month project, and by this fall, I should be able to give them better answers as far as exact timing, because we really need to, within weeks or a month of each other, be cutting our ribbons together for our new street and their new building. So, and their building has a much longer construction schedule than our street project does. Go to the next slide there, Russ. I just want to show you that the only element of this that we don't really have fully funded or figured out yet is this Orchard Street Plaza, which is the space between the bank and the community center. And that we envision this as a space where our farmers market, which currently exists in a parking lot down farther on our waterfront, where we have our festivals and events, which just marry very well with the community center site. And so we're talking to Senator Murray's office about an appropriation. They seem very interested in the project, but we aren't far enough along yet to, when you get federal money or state dollars, you have spend down requirements to it. So we'll be pursuing those grants here fairly soon. If our housing market continues at the robust pace it's at, we'll likely have enough impact fees from our housing impact fees to cover it. But if we can get other people's money, we certainly would prefer that. So our goal is we could build the community center. The bank's going to build their building. We'll build the community center. Our goal is to build this plaza at the exact same time and put it out to bid, so we're not having another year of construction thereafter, as we secure that funding. So that is our goal, is to have all that money in hand for that plaza and do the shoreline restoration work, the public plaza on the water side, the community center, and this Orchard, what we're calling the Orchard Street Plaza, all at once. So next slide, Russ. So this just kind of gives you an area of the event space that's going to be within that plaza and some of the treatments. And this is a view from overhead of the bank's building and its layout. And then the next picture is a picture of how it would have looked like from the street. And I told you it wasn't a very sexy picture, but that's what we have for preliminary engineering drawings for the street out front. And that those engineers are working in earnest to get that done so that we can get out to bid on those utility work this next year. We do have federal money, and so that's probably our biggest unknown is how long it will take to get the permits, you know, because of our relationship to the shoreline and our outfalls. So it's doable. It's just getting the federal approval since we have their money that we're spending. And next slide, Russ. This is so you'll see that where the excavator is, that vault right now. Previously, the sewer lift station had 15 minutes. If the world wasn't treating us well and the power went out and our backup generator didn't, we had 15 minutes to get our staff down there to remedy the problem, or we would be facing a sewer spill. This will give us more than an hour, and it has multiple levels of redundancies. That vault that they're working on there and have poured most of the concrete on is 3 stories below grade and below sea level. There's 7 dewatering wells going on right now to prevent that big hole from becoming a swimming pool from the tidal influence that's going on out there. So the project is going very well and should be done sometime next year. And next, so I'm to my question slide. So there's once again the overview of everything we got going on, which is a lot, as well as our City Hall remodel, which was a big milestone today. Finance administration, which includes me, and our engineering group got to move back into the 2nd floor after being out for 3 months. And the first month or so of teleworking was pretty cool, but after that it got really kind of old. So it was nice to be in the office with folks, even though it was a little bit hectic unpacking boxes and stuff today. So we're spending about $10 million right across the street from this on rehabbing City Hall, roof, windows, siding, heating system, solar canopy. And so this area downtown is getting a lot of attention. Questions?
Mayor, this is Walt Draper. I'm zooming.
Sure.
What do you envision for the 2 buildings that are labeled future development? What are you thinking about?
Our master plan calls for we want a 2-story parking garage there. It's tucked into the hillside. And then those 2 future buildings, like ground floor retail, and they're 5-story buildings with residential on top of it. We want, with the Growth Management Act, we need to be denser downtown, and that just feeds into the activity that we're trying to do in our downtown core.
Has there been any interest in that thus
We
far?
had a developer before interest rates and things changed, and we've got the bank. So we've got 4 property owners involved in that, and one of the obstacles, the bank owns a third of it. We own another chunk of it on the right side of the screen. There's a willing participant on a small parcel in the middle, and then there's the smallest parcel, of course, is the holdout. And he wasn't being reasonable in the amount he was willing to sell to the developer for, and then interest rates and the market changed a bit. These things have cycles, and as we get this and some other projects done, I don't know, might be talking to our city council members about us maybe being more proactive, and if we control all the parcels, we might be able to control the pace at which it happens. But we've got some things like the Orchard Street Plaza and a pedestrian pathway that we haven't finished paying for yet, so to start spending money on other shiny objects probably isn't in our best interest today.
I know I've asked you in the past about the 7-Eleven place, and
Yeah.
I'm assuming that hasn't changed. Further down where the old, I guess, Cheers restaurant used to be, is something happening? I know it's been demoed, but
Yeah.
is that at all, you guys didn't talk about?
The 7-Eleven has a long-term lease to
Right.
the Velist family, and Mr. Velist passed away this past year, so I don't know if their appetite will change in the future on relation to that site. But Mr. Velist was, believe it or not, is the newest building in our downtown, and he was very proud of it. And so he was not interested in pursuing. That was the site actually we looked at first for the community center. And to the Cheers, former Cheers site, it was, those of us have been in the community back to the 70s know that it was Binger's gas station. The site was contaminated. The guy that bought it was surprised by that. He shouldn't have been if he did his due diligence. But the site's been cleaned up. The other aspect of it is that he's got, what was the parking lot has power lines that go to the marina next door, and they go right diagonally across his parking lot, which is part of the footprint of his building. And he thought PSC was just going to move them for him, and they will, but you need to write them a check. And so that's kind of where he's at with that in PSC, and it's not an inexpensive endeavor, but the building's designed. He's paid all his fees. I'm confident it's going to happen at some point, and you know, he's talking to Puget Sound Energy about how to get those power lines moved and what that cost is going to be. So we've got another exciting project just right there by that Cheers site. Our pier that's right next door, underneath that is one of the state's fish passage culverts. And we're going to get a small bridge there. The problem is then that culvert goes under the parking lot right next to that across the street, and then underneath a commercial building. That's an older commercial building, and the state has partnered with us, and we've got a grant to buy that complex up and restore the estuary that was there at one point. And so we're going to end up with some habitat for fish, a little bit of a park amenity, and then so if you're going to dream, you may as well dream big. And so we're pursuing a grant for the roundabout that we want at the bottom of the boulevard. And why go through multiple layers of construction? Let's just do it all at once if we can. So got a lot of exciting things going on, and right there around that Cheers site. We have a lot of construction going. We have roundabouts on Bethel and other projects too. So exciting times if you want to be busy. So, other questions? All right. Thank you for your patience. I know this is a phenomenal project that's coming, but it takes time to get all these things lined up, and the infrastructure and the roads and everything have to happen first. And the bank is ready to go, but they need the road, concrete answers from us for as far as construction dates on that road, which is should be coming this fall.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It looks like it's coming along really nicely.
Thank you.
Yep. You take care. Okay, next we'll move on to general business, the City of Poulsbo ILA update.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the City of Poulsbo City Council last week voted to approve the ILA. So the ILA is now signed around by both the PFD and the City of Poulsbo. So it is in effect.
Any questions on that? No? We'll move on down to the Board of Director appointments.
Yep. So next thing I wanted to talk about was that we have 2 new board members that will be joining us effectively July the 1st. And that obviously the Board of County Commissioners will be voting on that, formalizing that tonight, but I don't see anything that would stop from that. So they're both here with us this evening. So we have Sean Cucciardi, and no, Sean's not here. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, we have Sean Cucciardi that'll be replacing Director Morrissey for the City of Port Orchard, and then we have Bob Russell who will be replacing Director Bullock for the City of Bainbridge Island. the county commissioners both approved the reappointment of the chair, Pat Hatchell, and also of Director Havers. So for 2024 to 2028, that will be our board.
Okay.
And then,
And-
right, and then going into that, since the appointments are not official yet, we cannot hold our executive board vote tonight. So what we'll do is we will hold that in a special meeting. It'll be a special meeting Zoom only. What I'll do is we will open up the public, the PFD office to the public if they wish to participate and be there live. But it will be a Zoom meeting, and we will hold the election of the new officers for 2024 to 2026 of the PFD board on that date, July 22nd. And an invitation will be going out fairly shortly to all the board members.
Is that July 22nd or 27th?
22nd. Yeah,
Oh.
I had mistakenly said the 27th, I think, in my first iteration of
Okay.
the agenda. It's the 22nd, which is Monday.
Okay.
Next, we have the Department of Commerce update on the PERC project ILA. While we were waiting for the city to either approve or disapprove, we were being proactive. We contacted the Department of Commerce. Department of Commerce then hired a third party to do the feasibility review. So we are in the middle of that review right now. First draft of the review is done. We have provided comments back. When I say we, I'm talking about our legal counsel, Mr. Lawler, and our financial consultants, Northwest Municipal Advisors, and then myself. So we'll get a second draft. I believe that is anticipated for the 26th, so 2 days from now. We'll take a look at the second draft, and then if there's any more comments, change those, and then there'll be the final draft that will come to the board, be presented to the board. Right now, I do not have a date as to when that will be, but most certainly at our next board meeting in August, we'll have the draft that we can talk about open to the public. Of course, once we've got the final draft, I'll be sharing it with the board as well. And then the last thing I have is that we have finally finished up the Board of Directors handbook. The first draft is done. I'll be calling the policy committee together the week after, the week after July the 4th weekend, or July the 4th week. We'll be calling the policy committee together. We will go over that initial draft, see if the policy committee wants to add or subtract from it. And then we'll take it from there. It's a very comprehensive handbook, but it's something that has needed to be updated for a long while. And so I think we finally have got something. And the timing's really good too, because we have 2 new board members coming on, so we can test drive that new handbook with them. And then I don't have it on here, but now I'm working on the employees handbook. Now, obviously, we only have 1 employee, so if you will, you could call it the executive director's handbook. But I'm also working on that right now. Again, that will be comprehensive, so whoever takes my place, then it'll be a much easier, smoother transition for them to have that handbook, and for them to be able to recall or go back and look back on it again if they need things. So I think they're 2 very important documents. The reason why the policy committee is going to take a look at both handbooks is that we are actually establishing policy within those handbooks that will have to come before the board for approval. One of those, for example, is the leave policy. We currently don't have one, and so in this handbook there will be a leave policy. So there are certain policies that will come before the board for board approval, which will be part of either one of those handbooks or both those handbooks.
Who is on the policy committee?
That's Director Havers, that is Director Jagodinsky, and then you will be its new chair, and that's it, 3 board members.
Okay.
Right now, the chair is Director Leadham.
Okay. Okay, that concludes the general business.
Last thing we have is
Yes.
we have 2 board members, like we said, that'll be stepping off, and we'd love to be able to recognize them for the time that they put into this and their dedication to it. So I have a couple of things to be able to give to the board members. will be presenting this on behalf of the entire board and our board chair. All right, Director Morrissey, this is presented to you for your recognition of 4 years on the board of directors. Something that we really appreciate all your time and effort. The same to you, sir. We certainly appreciate everything you've done, but you've been with the board for 10 years and we couldn't just let it go with this certificate. So we also got you something else to commemorate your time with the board. So again, thank you very much. I certainly do appreciate working with both of you. Very much. Thank you.
Yes, and that thank you comes from me too. It's been great serving with both of you on there, and you've both been, I don't know, great members of this board.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Well, I'll just start. I'll let Tom get the last word because he's been around longer than I have. Thank you to all of you. This is a team effort. A lot of good, sometimes tough conversations that we've had over the years. I appreciate everybody just willing to be a team player and have those conversations. I think we've done a lot of great work over the time here. We've got a fabulous new executive director. And I think this board is positioned for future success for long term. So thank you and keep up the good work.
I too want to thank my fellow board members. It's been an amazing experience. And I appreciate all of your contribution to making Kitsap County better. In the last 10 years, I've seen a ton of progress. As John mentioned, we hired an amazing new executive director. Because of the increased workload, we've hired numerous consultants. We've brought 4 large projects to their current statuses, and we've done all that professionally and conflict-free. Much of what I see and have personally witnessed in the public sector proceedings that go on today in our country is fraught. They're fraught with politics, and the main goals appear to be power, influence, status, and ego. Unfortunately, that leaves the work of representing citizens secondary, and I'm again thankful that the board has taken the high road and nothing like that has happened to date. I'm leaving the board, and I think I have unfinished business, so I wish you all well. I urge you to continue to represent ethically the citizens of Kitsap County and add infrastructural improvements for all of us to use. It's been a real pleasure working with all of you, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. I have nothing else, Mr. Chair.
Okay, then the meeting is adjourned.